Kane Cornes is one of the most polarising figures in the AFL media landscape, and if you're an AFL fan who happens to scroll around online from time to time, chances are you've seen a few clips of him floating around, or at least heard a few quotes of his. Over the past few years, he's built his reputation on pulling no punches and delivering some outrageous opinions. So in this video, we're going to go over, in tier list style, some of his most controversial opinions he has put forward to see whether all the hate on him is truly justified. So without further ado, let's get started.
But you don't have to.
Well, you couldn't have put Jezza in over Jerker?
Jez is an overrated mark.
Jez
is an overrated.
So starting things off with his take on the Alex Jesaulenko mark, he thinks it's overrated, and so do I, 100% spot on. That is the most overrated mark in VFL AFL history. I know it was in a grand final, in one of the greatest grand finals in history, but if we're looking at it purely from how difficult the mark was, how courageous the mark was, how high he got up, it's not that impressive. Like Jeremy Howe, Liam Ryan, you know, all those sorts of players, they just about do it every second week. It is not that impressive of a mark when you compare it to the marks you see nowadays, and even in some of the decades gone by, there's been fantastic marks. There was really nothing special about this grab. Like, he jumped on a player's shoulders, he didn't really get an extra boost upward. It was just your stock standard specky mark, and it is nowhere close to being one of the greatest of all time.
You've got to have a look at this in full time. I don't want to see this frame by frame. I don't want to see it in slow-mo. I want to see it in full speed where he's running flat out. He tries to smother the ball. At the last minute, he turns to protect himself. That is not a reportable incident. And for anyone suggesting that it is, I would question whether you've played the game or not.
Nathan?
So starting things off in this tier list, I think he's 2 for 2. He said that Braden Maynard's smother attempt should not be a reportable offence, and I 100% agree with him. Maynard attempted to smother a kick from Angus Brayshaw, jumped up in the air, unfortunately collided with Angus Brayshaw, which knocked him out, and in recent days, as of recording this, Angus Brayshaw has actually retired. Now, he had a long history of concussion issues. Obviously, that bump wasn't the single reason why he retired, but there's a good chance it was a contributing factor. However, what Maynard did was, it was a footballing action, and it was a complete accident. You can't expect Maynard to just disappear out of thin air to try and avoid contact. It was a split-second decision to brace himself for contact, and unfortunately it was one which led to Angus Brayshaw's final moments on a footy field.
Fans was raised on social media, Kane.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think he's well within his rights to do that. I think you're allowed to put your knee up in a marking contest, provided you've got your eyes on the ball. Now, these ones he's actually taken the mark, so he's clearly got his eyes on the ball.
Now, I put his last two opinions in the top tier. This one, however, is going right at the bottom, the polar opposite. So back in 2018, Kane Cornes, this was after the Sydney vs GWS elimination final, that infamous game where Toby Green about 3 or 4 times stuck his boot out in a marking contest to stop the other player from competing for the ball. Kane Cornes said he thought there was nothing really wrong with this. I disagree 100%. He said that it's really no more dangerous than sticking your knee out in a marking contest, but that's just not true at all. Like, there is so much more potential for injury when you stick studs out as opposed to your knee, especially in just like a standing marking contest. Maybe if you're like jumping forward and it's an aerial contest, then maybe I can understand his point, but when you're just standing still, there's really not that much risk of an injury if you just stick your knee out, or if you just use your arms to try and like wrestle with the other player, not sticking your studs out. And it's definitely not something that should be encouraged. And well, the AFL has had in place a rule for a while now which has outlawed this practice because of what Toby Green did.
List management, fitness, coaching, I think something does have to give. I disagree with you a little bit, Brownie. I don't think no coach in the history has survived a record like
this
that.
bad,
and he will not survive that.
Yeah, but what is the benefit of sacking him?
Because they need a circuit breaker.
So they just need to be seen to be doing something?
They need a circuit breaker.
I don't think he'll be coaching.
So Kane Cornes was pretty adamant midway through last year that Adam Simpson should have got the sack, and I kind of agree with this. Now, from a footballing sense, I agree that he probably should have been sacked. However, I think the main reason why he didn't get sacked was purely financial. Now, I don't know the exact details of why it would have cost so much to sack him, but I remember seeing in a True Footy video that the result of sacking Adam Simpson would have resulted in like nearly a $2 million cost when you take into account like how much he would have need to have been paid out and then tax or something else. Now, I don't understand quite how that all works, but $2 million is a lot just to sack a coach. So I think that's 100% the only reason why they didn't sack him. But I kind of agree with the sentiment that the Eagles really needed a refresh. And I think that potentially if they did get a new coach, that would have, you know, potentially brought a bit of life back to their 2023 season. So, I mean, in some ways, I sort of agree with that opinion, but also it really just would have been too much of a cost for the Eagles to part ways with him. So I'm just going to put this in the middle here. Right, this one's going in bad take, I reckon. Basically, Kane Cornes is being the fun police on this one. He's saying that the Eagles shouldn't be allowed to dress up in the preseason because of how bad they were last year. I mean, look, is it the most professional look? I guess not. I guess I sort of agree with him in that sense. But also, you know, when your club has been as terrible as the Eagles have been, it's probably not a bad thing to, you know, just have a bit of fun every now and again. Try and, you know, make training fun, make playing fun, because at the end of the day, if you're enjoying your footy, then there's a good chance you're going to be playing better footy. So, you know, maybe little events like this where they have little get-togethers and dress-ups isn't such a bad thing for the Eagles. And yeah, I disagree with Kane Cornes that they shouldn't. They should be discouraged from doing this sort of stuff.
And he had 8 last night, so just thought it was set up by the youngsters and Rosie, who I personally thought was the best man on the ground. And you said it for a while, and I'll continue to say it, that Carlton picked the wrong bloke. This guy should have been the first pick in the draft, and he continues to show why. And I think he's...
So if you remember a few years back, Kane Cornes was pretty big on Connor Rosie being a better player than Sam Walsh, or rather he was going to be a better player than Sam Walsh. Which, looking back, is probably true right now. Sam Walsh did miss a large chunk of last year, so, you know, it's kind of hard to say how he would have fared if he had a full season and a full pre-season. A lot of people are saying Sam Walsh has potential to win the Brownlow this year, but based on what the two players have already achieved, Sam Walsh has got 1 All-Australian, Connor Rosie's got 2 All-Australians. He got those back-to-back in 2022 and 2023. So, I mean, I guess right now it's true. I'm going to put it in the middle, since I still think there's potential for Sam Walsh to be a better player in the future than Connor Rosie, but I guess I'm going to put it in the sort of agree for now.
And if I am Harley Reid, which is the top prospect in the draft, I would not want to be going there, and I'd be having real concerns if I was his family, if I was him. And you say, yeah, you can draft me, but after 2 years, I'm going home, because you compare that.
Alright, this one's going to go in zero ball knowledge. I think that encouraging draftees to leave a club after their contract has expired, saying that, you know, they could get better opportunities elsewhere, it's just not a good look for the competition at all. I think this is really irresponsible from Kane Cornes to be trying to, you know, get Harley Reid. I don't know if he was really trying to get him to leave West Coast, or whether he was just kind of like suggesting that would be a better path for his career. But either way, I don't think it's a good look for the competition at all.
10, 10 and then 0.
Taranto
you can't say he's out of form.
In the top 150 players in the game right now.
Top 150?
No.
Okay. Gee whiz.
Now this one aged like absolute milk. However, at the time when he said it, I honestly kind of agreed with him. I thought Tim Taranto was a pretty unimpactful player. I thought pretty much all of his disposals were just very cheap disposals, you know, not very impactful. I think maybe saying he wasn't in the top 150 was a bit far, but at the time I sort of agreed with him. However, you know, that Tim Taranto definitely lifted in the middle part of the season. He improved his game. He started getting on the scoreboard more, and pretty much everyone was clowning on Kane Cornes for this opinion. I'm not going to put it in zero ball knowledge, but it was probably a pretty bad take in the end. This one's a little bit different. This one's not about footy. I think that this one can go in solid take. So yeah, Kane Cornes criticised Ricky Ponting for his comments on one of the pitches used in the Big Bash League season. Basically, it was a really hard pitch to bat on. It was a very spin-dominant pitch. Ricky Ponting said that it was the sort of pitch that you shouldn't really see in T20 games. Kane Cornes basically said, well, no, I think it's a good thing to see a little bit of variety in the pitches used for T20 games, for Big Bash League games. And yeah, I kind of agree with Kane Cornes on this one. I think that, you know, variety is what the game of cricket needs in all of the formats. I think having, like, all the Australian stadiums, the reason why I love the Australian stadiums is that they're all unique. Quite often the pitches are all unique as well. So yeah, seeing, you know, different dynamics for the pitch and the field, I think can only be a good thing for T20. It wasn't a dangerous pitch, not like that one we saw in Geelong, but it was certainly a tricky one to bat on, and it's not like it was impossible to bat on. Alex Hales made 72 runs, so yeah, I think I agree with Kane Cornes on this one.
You've been calling for hard calls. You assessed this as a wrong extension at the time, back in December last year. You've now arrived at the position that you think change is needed. Yeah, absolutely, Hudgy. Change is needed now. Otherwise, it'll get ugly towards the first start of next season. And
another one I'm probably going to have to agree with Kane Cornes on here. Luke Beveridge, he was pretty adamant that the Bulldogs should part ways with him, and yeah, Beveridge in the last couple of years, I don't know what has happened with him, man. He just keeps on playing players out of position. Like Bailey Smith was going to the half-forward line, same with Jack McRae. He was swapping players in and out of the team. He was playing players in the forward line when they should be back, and back when they should be forward. I don't know what he was trying to get out of that list, but yeah, he was just making all sorts of strange decisions, and I think that, yeah, it's probably about time that the Bulldogs part way with Luke Beveridge and find someone who actually knows how to put players in their correct positions.
I think that's a very soft little open heart.
I can't believe you guys are putting it onto Nathan Murphy.
But he looked dazed.
We're so sensitive around head issues, and we're so paranoid about that. When you flail down like that after a soft action, I think that...
Why would you swing an arm to someone's jaw?
Yeah, that's
whether it's open hand or anything. Why would you bother to do it in this day and age?
It's got to be a reportable offence. I don't think that is a reportable offence. And if he doesn't go down like that and get straight up and finish the game, then we're not talking about this.
Got two.
So this one caused a bit of outrage on the Sunday footy show, and I think deservedly so. He basically said that Junior Rioli really shouldn't have been reported or suspended for his open-handed strike to the head of Nathan Murphy. He said that Nathan Murphy probably flopped and put a bit of mayo on it, but with the concussion history that Nathan Murphy has had, I highly doubt that. And I think that to say that that wasn't a reportable offence is, yeah, just objectively wrong. I mean, even if it was an open hand, which it was, if you choose to strike someone in the head, I think that should be immediately a reportable offence, and at least, depending on the severity, at least probably a couple weeks, because you know, this was a completely off the ball incident. It was not in play. I mean, no strike is a footballing action. So yeah, I completely disagree with him on this one.
Right, Kelly, Canelio, I mean, there's a number of them. I think there's going to be a number of clubs that regret doing this, and clubs got to take the power back. I mean, 4 years is long enough. Anything longer than that is an irresponsible offer to any player in the game.
So Cornes, for a while now, has made it known he does not like long-term contracts for AFL players, and I probably agree with him on this one. I'm gonna put it in solid tank. I think that yeah, some of the contracts that clubs dish out these days are quite ridiculous. Like those 7-year deals that Jacob Hopper and Tim Taranto got. You know, Franklin got 9 years back in 2014. That was, you know, that was just, I think that was way too excessive. Brodie Grundy, obviously, he got 7 years, and not even halfway through that, he left Collingwood because of salary cap issues that the Pies had, and then he left Melbourne for Sydney. So yeah, I think these long-term contracts are getting a bit ridiculous. You know, Aaron Norton last year got 8 years, Eric Hipwood got 7 years, Nick Blakey got 7 years. Like, how are those players warranting such long contracts, like nearly a decade long? That is ridiculous.
Of volcanoing Damien Barrett. I'd never been to the stadium. He said it's better than the MCG. Everyone's coming to him on Twitter. They want to get him from... I don't know if they'll even welcome him back into Melbourne, but honestly, having come here, it is better than the MCG. So I'm...
Finally, I don't really know what to do about this one, since I've never been to Optus Stadium or the MCG. I guess I'm just gonna have to rate this purely based off, you know, viewing experience on TV. I mean, the MCG has 40,000 more seats. Optus Stadium is obviously a wonderful stadium, a beautiful ground, but the MCG just got so much more tradition and history, plus an extra 40,000 seats. I don't know, I'm not going to put it in bad take, just because I've never been to either ground, so I can't really say for sure, but I guess I'm just going to have to put it in the middle tier. I should almost make a separate tier just for I don't really know. So that there is my rating of all of Kane Cornes' hottest takes. Now obviously he's had more opinions than that over the years. I just tried to pick out the most controversial ones. I may have missed a few, so please let me know in the comments if I did miss any big opinions that he's had over the years which have caused a bit of outrage. That being said, I hope you did enjoy the video. If you did, leave a like and subscribe. Let me know what you think about all his opinions in the comment section below, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.